not a perfectionist. I just like things to be just right. And that phrase right there really brings out the subtle work of how perfectionism underlies so much thinking in people's lives. Is this thought of, I got to have things. Notice it in your life. You notice the pressure you live under. Where do you carry that pressure? Pressure to do things right, the pressure to get it done and get it done right. Must recognize how it influences your life. And people who have type A personalities, people who have anger issues, people who are high achievers and have their identity based on that. There's these perfectionism things that want to seek to infiltrate all of you. And when God looks at you and he loves you, does he love just the good parts of you that do well? Such a myth, right? Because we look at those parts and we can go, oh, that's, and even perfectionists in those areas are still not good enough, right? But does God just love those areas? Or does he love all of you? See, sometimes in Christianity, we skip over things that are eternally important, so important for our journey. Does God love all of you? I can't hear you. Yes, he loves all of you. Can you take that mindset, look in the mirror, and give that to yourself? Because what I want to encourage you to do, instead of running from your weaknesses, hiding from your weaknesses, hiding from your past, hiding from your sins and mistakes and strongholds, give yourself a big hug and embrace all of it. Mark, how do I do this? How do I do this? Just practice. Just practice. When the disturbance and the anxiety comes up and you feel this like need to run, and instead just embrace it. Give yourself a hug. This is going to sound so weird. Yeah, I know. Hands here, put your arms around you. Give yourself an embrace. My only way to relate to people was make sure in ministry I get everything right. My sermon's just right. My presentation's just right. My meeting's just right. Activities got to be planned. Everything's got to be just right. You need to just embrace the weakness, embrace the frailty, embrace that you don't have it all together. Embrace it. Instead of fighting and arguing with it, just embrace it. Yeah. As perfectionists and people accuse you, you get really like bent out of shape, right? And you want to defend yourself. Just go, yeah. I hear you. I got flaws. It's all right. God's working on me. Oh, you see that? What that brings is grace. We all have issues. We all have struggles. We all have battles. I'm going to add a sixth one here. And this is one of the top things that gets lost in perfectionism is joyous laughter. You and I need to learn how to laugh at ourselves. Not take yourself so seriously. When was the last time you looked at what you're battling and you chuckled? Look at this crazy thought. I got another one that came through today. Oh, silly thought. See, sometimes what you need in your spinning is you need to break your current physical chemistry state. Because when you're in these pressurized thought patterns, what do? You get in tunnel vision, you get serious. You get serious. What you need? You know what you need? I'm going to give you a spiritual lesson right now. Are you ready? You need a joke. You need laughter.
People will see. But underneath that, what drives this performance perfectionism is this shame and fear. And the shame says, if people see me for who I really am, they won't love me, they'll reject me. So it then shows us the deeper area of what's going on in the heart, which is this abandonment issue. And most of our brokenness and areas of struggle lead down to a root of abandonment. That's why I talk about exposing the rejection mindset. You can see the book over my shoulder. Work through the root issues that I am talking about here. And perfectionists have a deep level of shame that they carry. They've been neglected, they have emptiness, they have pain, they have trauma, and shame has clouded it. And what shame has done is says, create this presentation of just right. Maybe it's religious just right, live just right. Maybe it's how you do relationships, the standards you hold to yourself. It's all pressure, pressure, pressure. And what does it do? It seeks to drown out love and grace because love is patient and kind. Love pulls you into relationship. Grace welcomes God's power and what he's done. And grace reveals even in your weaknesses, even in your struggle, God's operating power is available to meet you and help you in your life. But what shame doesn't want is shame doesn't want you to see the abandonment. that you struggle with, that people will leave you when they see your brokenness, that God will leave you, that they'll no longer love you. And this abandonment can drive massive amounts of energy, of combustion. It can alter our mood. It can alter how we relate. It could cause us to spin and spiral. And we think it's what somebody said or something happened, but really it's abandonment screaming out. And those areas of emptiness and pain, and a lot of that for a perfectionist, is the place of neglect. Your emotions have been neglected. So the first step in the journey is slowing down our perfectionistic tendencies and turning in how we look at ourselves, because we've been avoiding ourselves and we've gone through layers of blocks of denial. That it's time to look at ourselves through the lens of love and of grace. Compassionate, total unconditional, loving acceptance. Lies how perfectionism is influencing their life. And perfectionism is a very common response to brokenness. It's a response. It's a way that we feel safe to survive. And I'm going to specifically show you how it affects the OCD world. Because many people walk into a coaching session and they'll misunderstand perfectionism. They'll say, I don't have any perfectionism. They see it only as an achiever, maybe a type A achiever. They're like, I'm not like that. But the day-to-day struggles in their thoughts, in their behaviors, they reveal massive places where the bondage of perfectionism is keeping them in unrest. It's not allowing you to experience peace in the complexities of imperfections in life and mistakes and errors. It can't land. And so people think, well, if I'm not a neat freak or a super high achiever, so I'm not perfectionistic. We kind of box it into this little compartment. But I'm going to tell you this, perfectionism is not just about high achieving performers. It has a lot to do with how you find peace, how you settle within yourself. And so specifically in OCD, this is where I want to really bring illumination to you. Perfectionism within OCD. Listen very carefully. Stop what you're doing and listen very carefully. It's about an internal nagging feeling that it's not just right. You don't feel just right, and you chase that feeling whenever it comes up. So this is where the rubber meets the road in OCD, is that this perfectionism, where does it influence? Something doesn't feel just right. So perfectionism fuels a sense of anxiety over things not feeling right. There is this nagging feeling of incompleteness and uneasiness that needs attention, needs fixing. So it goes in a lot of different patterns. To get your thoughts just right, you got to get your spiritual life just right. Make sure your religious, spiritual pathways are just right. Your behaviors are just right. Get your theology just right. Get your thinking patterns just right. Problem is, we get all kinds of thinking that comes through, all kinds of emotions that come through. But we grab them and go, no, I got to get this thing just right. You get into relationship OCD, where you got to make sure the person you're with or marrying is just right for you. And there's this tiny little nagging feeling that doesn't feel right. So you magnify that and pay attention to it. And it's like, this must mean something. I've got to fix this. And then you keep chasing. My heart aches over how many believers are struggling to feel like they're even saved or that they are far from God because they have a pattern. They got to make sure their inner righteousness is just right. You got to make sure your house is organized and just right. Got to make sure your house is clean and just right. You got to make sure that people around you act in a way that's just right. You got to make sure your thought arrangements feel just right. Are you hearing me? Okay. This nagging just right feeling is what perfectionism is bringing.
And if you have OCD, you have a nagging feeling that something is not just right, and you chase it. The problem is, the more you feed it, the more it grows. And the more it moves into other areas and other areas and other areas. And then you'll find that the everyday simple things become difficult. Relating to people becomes difficult because you need it to be just right. You need those feelings to be just right. I got to make sure everything is just right. And perfectionism and OCD will find new things to point to that are not just right. The problem is that this is a deceptive trap, because you'll solve one problem. Oh, this doesn't feel right, doesn't think right. This thing isn't right. And so you do some kind of thing to fix it in your head or in your actions, and you feel a sense of relief, but it's a trap, because then it comes again and again and again, and the pressure increases and the pressure increases. It points to another thing, and it bounces to all different kinds of subjects. And maybe if you have religious OCD, you fix it in this one area, quote unquote, fix it. It doesn't feel just right, so let me do this verse and this prayer. I can't feel. And then boom, it comes over here and over there and over there, because we haven't gotten to the root system. Perfectionism needs to be healed at the root. And it's not chasing the just right, because life will never always feel. That's not how peace works. Peace is relational. And in the midst of flaws, mistakes, failures, it's just like getting free from fear. Getting free from fear doesn't mean everything around you is absent of fear. That's not how this works. Peace is engaging the peace of God, even in the presence of fear, and letting his peace grow. Well, imperfection is a part of life that we need to experience, embrace, and find within. Perfectionism is going to keep you unsettled. You chase it, and it'll find another subject. It'll drive you into all kinds of mental arguments, debates, behavioral patterns that become your compulsions, with the deception that by doing these things, you're going to land into peace and certainty. So what OCD sufferers often do with interacting with me is they'll go, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Right? And it's like, no, perfectionism is driving you to chase something you don't need to chase. And so it lies to you to say, keep chasing these things. You'll find peace. You'll find certainty, but it's an illusion. And so perfectionists struggle in working through their emotions because they don't make room for weakness. They don't make room for struggle. They don't make room for flaws. They don't make room for things that are incomplete in their life. Their focus is fix. So many OCD sufferers will say to me, how do I fix this? If you say the word fix, you're already following the OCD pattern. How do I solve this? Right? Because OCD sufferers begin with this nagging feeling something's not right. So then they ask a question out of that. So a religious OCD sufferer who says, I don't know that I'm saved. I don't know that I'm saved. I feel like I've said the sinner's prayer. I don't know if I'm saved. So there's a nagging feeling of incompleteness. So they ask a question off of that. So am I really not saved then? And then they follow that. So the whole line of thinking is distorted because in reality, their salvation, they're a believer, but they don't know what to do with that nagging feeling. Now, what's underneath that we're going to get into, because really it's about how you feel safe, how you feel loved, and you've not been nurtured. So you follow perfectionism as a way to survive, as a way to feel peace. I can tell a perfectionist off the bat, whether it's a perfectionist that has OCD that also comes in line with it, which I find so many interactions with people, very obsessive compulsive. You can see it in the language. You can see it in the intensity of what they're talking about. And you can see a list of questions they're going through that they don't need to entertain because God's not asking them. He's not in those things, but it gets them off on all these tangents. But I can see a perfectionist a mile away when the fix mentality comes up. The fix. Because flaws, weaknesses, discomfort are unacceptable. Unacceptable. And so let me just tell you up front, if you have OCD, you don't get fixed. Let me broaden that. In any area of your life, you don't get fixed. God is not fixing you. That's a shame-based perspective, because fixing you means there's something inherently flawed about you that makes you unlovable, and we've got to fix that. God loves you in your current state. I got so excited, I bumped right up against my microphone. God loves you in your current state. And that is the foundation of what healing and the OCD battleground looks like. But when it comes to these feelings of things don't feel just right, that's the premise of today's talk. They don't feel just right. And instead of going, it's all right, that's part of life, I'm still loved, I'm okay, we chase that. And then this now becomes your addiction. Chasing it. I don't feel just right. Things don't feel just right. I'm in a relationship. I had religious, I keep saying religious when I say relationship. I had relationship OCD so bad, I just 24/7, am I in the right relationship? Now I could keep chasing that. Let me talk it out. Let me make sure. Let me make a list. Am I in the right? Let me get people's advice. Or I could stop feeding the drug and go, this is really about my broken heart. What I need is love. I need the love of the Father. I need healing and nurture. And I don't love myself. Perfectionists do not love themselves. Because when you love yourself the way God loves you, you're relationally wired. And when you're relationally wired, people have flaws. We make mistakes. We have to live at a different level. Perfectionists are lost up here. They're not relationally present. They're not with you. They're not present in the moment. They're lost in their minds. And even religious OCD sufferers, I get accused. I'm lost in my head. It means I don't know God. Right? Again, that black and white harshness, because love needs to have a deeper work. And many are feeling disconnected from God. And what they need is they need to learn what it means to be loved and heal their broken hearts. Now, perfectionists and OCD, they have a hard time with their feelings. That's number 7 in that list I gave, dealing with emotions and stuff like that. So what happens commonly is they bring their questions to other people because they want reassurance. And that's actually a common compulsion. Got this thing I'm spinning in. Let me talk it out to someone, get reassurance, I'm okay. It give them like a little bit of a hit of trying to feel peace, but then they have to go back to it again. They have to talk it out. And so many times other believers will say to them about their feelings, you got to ignore your feelings. Don't follow your feelings. Because traditionally that's been the template. Just ignore your feelings. The problem is that it's made us ill-equipped when we're dealing with emotions. So if you're going through depression, you don't know how to deal with depression. And many religious OCD perfectionists go, oh, it must mean I'm not saved. Like, not at all. Not at all. Like, can we all wake up and go, you can be born again, a child of God, and have problems and struggles. This is part of the journey. And our struggles just reveal more love, more grace is needed, more truth that sets us free. In love, God, He is love. Come in the light. No shame will work through the issues of your heart. But that's the nurturing voice perfectionists lack. They live off of the driving fuel of just right. Got to get this just right. And perfectionists will invite you to follow their trails. Maybe they're always at work. They're always got to make sure things are just right. And they can excel. And people go, oh, appreciate it. But inside, they're just not at peace. And they don't know what to do with their feelings. They don't know what to do with weaknesses. So they hide them because underneath perfectionism is some shame. It's embarrassing to be seen as flawed. I've had to deal with that in many layers of my life. Of allowing myself to accept being seen as flawed, being seen as having mistakes, being seen as not being perfect, being seen different than maybe what people expect. It's moving from here to here. I say, how do you move from here to here? Vulnerability, humility, leaning into the brokenness, facing it. It's not about getting things just right. Because Jesus, with what he did, he paid it all to make it just right. But he's leading us on a journey now. Perfectionists want to fix everything and then go. It'll never happen. And so maybe you go, I don't know, I'm still chasing. You may just not be ready. You may not be ready because for me, I was like, I don't have a broken heart. I'm good. And it wasn't until the battles crippled me and dropped me to my knees and I could not go on anymore because this torment is killing me. And there were days where I remember walking going, I don't want to live anymore. God, whatever it is I need to learn, teach me. And I never forgot that posture to this day. And so if you're still chasing symptoms, yeah, of course. Because when you're firing the stuff off in your mind, it distracts you from what your heart needs. And we got millions of people all around the world, brokenhearted, going, maybe I need to, I need to repent of these things? How do I fix this thing? Maybe this relationship is just, maybe I need to, we're chasing all this stuff. Meanwhile, the signal on the dashboard is going broken heart, broken heart, broken heart. And you know what? I got to get the tires changed. That's where it is, the tires changed. And it's like, no, it's in the engine. The engine needs some massive repair. Maybe it's the windshield wipers. The windshield wipers, that's what it is. Maybe the car needs a paint job. Maybe I got to get the paint job just right. And that's what common Christianity does. We're surface chasing. We live in the surface realm. So we misdiagnose ourselves. And our OCD, religious OCD people, perfectionistic OCD, they misdiagnose themselves because everything's black, white, right? So they go, man, I'm struggling with motivation. You know what? It's because I'm lazy. No, that's a surface diagnosis. That's like a quick, heady diagnosis. And it's an easy diagnosis. Oh, you're lazy. And then there's probably some reasons going on in your heart and life. And we dive in and go, you've been struggling with depression. You need to get some help in working through those things. No, not depressed. I'm just lazy. Okay. Well, stay in the surface diagnosis. Some go, I don't feel motivated to worship God. It's because I'm not saved. There goes the black and white. It's either I'm all in or I'm all out in this. And we don't go, this is a journey. This is a process of learning. Even when Paul said, work out your salvation, it brought a revealing that, we make a decision to receive Christ and then we're on this journey. I'm like 35 years in the faith and I'm still every day learning what it means to be saved. But it's a good thing. It doesn't have to be an obsessive, compulsive fear that I'm away from him. And people who say, I don't feel close to God. I feel like I have these issues and these issues. It's because I'm really not even saved. They misdiagnose themselves because this rigid rule-following kind of thing traps them. And really it reveals they don't have a good experience of being loved unconditionally. You've never been loved unconditionally as you are because it's showing in how you evaluate yourself. You getting this? And so you have this internal pressure, so you can't enjoy things. Can't be present. Can't be, and this is where I'm getting with what I was sharing just a minute ago. It takes you out of relationship awareness and gets you lost in your head because relationship awareness is here. Loving, being vulnerable. I'm weak. I'm flawed. But learning to be loved in that, learning to relate to others and share. That's why we got to be safe with each other. OCD gets me trapped up here. So I'm not in relational land. I can see it in people's eyes I'm talking to. Like they're not even listening to me. They're going, how do I fix this? 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 So the words that I'm saying, bringing them to the heart level are going, ho, 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 ho. Right? And that's many times why it's like we haven't come to the end of ourselves yet. Because remember the parable of the lost son where he's going in his own way and it says, and then he came to his senses. He came to himself. And we all need that moment where we go, okay, I need a different way of approaching this. And when the lost son goes to the father, and the father is a picture of a perfect father, he goes, he rehearses his brokenness, and the father goes, I just want to love you. And OCD sufferers see the father as someone who goes, yeah, you did all those wrong things. Fix them. And so your father lens needs healing. It needs some transformative work in those things. And so you get lost in that, don't think just right. So you get obsessed about it. It's an all or nothing mentality that develops, which creates very extreme kind of interpretations. So if you have a feeling and emotion, there's no grace and goodness. OCD sufferers, I say this from the bottom of my heart, we've got to learn to be kinder to ourselves. You're tearing you apart with your evaluations. You always feel like a failure because you interpret yourself through that. This heavy inner critic just kind of rules the dialogue. There are major control issues that come into play. I talk about that. You control your environment, you control people, you control others, you're trying to control all your thoughts. And perfectionists, of course, they can struggle to receive any feedback. It just because they feel like failures if anyone brings any helpful feedback. And then you procrastinate a lot. So that's where that lack of motivation comes in, because underneath the procrastination is maybe some depression that hasn't been worked through and understood and gone through some healing process. But there's also this fear of failure. If I step out into anything or learn something new or try things, I'm going to make a mistake. And it's not just I failed, I am a failure, because mistakes are fatal. You become afraid of doing something wrong because then you become one with it. I am wrong. And you may get into these fixing. I know I have. God's still renewing this in my life. Fixing, editing, redoing until something feels good or feels just right. I apply this even in my own ministry and my own work. You find in some of my video content. So if you go to my shame and blame video, towards the end of it, I had two slides that mixed each other, and I got my thoughts miscombobulated, and I repeated the same points twice. So I went through it, and something didn't feel right. Did I say something twice? So when I ended the video, and this was just yesterday, so this is not like 10 years ago. This was yesterday. I go, oh, the last slide had the wrong wordings on it. And then I just went with it. And so this anxiety came over me of, oh my, I just embarrassed myself. And the thought came, we got to fix it. We got to fix it. We got to fix it. I'm so anxious. Now, in normal everyday life, if there's certain things like that, if there's a video I see a tweak, I can fix it. It's part of life. But this creates a discomfort moment. I have a decision. And I'm like, why does this make me feel uncomfortable? Oh, because I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed. I kind of look like I don't know what I'm talking about, or it's flawed. And so in many things that I'll do, you'll see me intentionally leave something with flaws. It's not about the presentation. It's about me. Because at the end of the day, I want to learn how to be okay in the midst of imperfection. I want to learn to practice I'm loved in the midst of this. I'm not loved because my presentations are great. And that is a dragon I've had to slay, because I lived my life on the basis of my presentation and my teaching gift being just right. And it stole years and years and years of agony, of discomfort, and lack of peace. And when I came to terms with this perfectionism thing, God began to illuminate how I feel loved. And I realized it's just a deceptive monster. And it brings no fruit. And it disconnects me from relationship and disconnects me from feeling loved. Because God doesn't put a condition on you to be loved. Do this and you'll be loved. And perfectionists don't know how to compute that. And so I humbled myself and said, you'll see in my materials, I'll intentionally leave some flaws. I've just gone through a couple weeks where all my live streaming, my goodness, it was exhausting. I couldn't figure out what was the flaw, what was wrong, what was going on. And here I am speaking this message on OCD. I'm going to share my journey. And both broadcasts, the first one was like glitchy and barely usable, although the audio was good. And then the next one had the same thing, had problems. And I'm in the process of upgrading our equipment, and we'll get that soon. But that's not what it's about. It's about my journey of being okay with things feeling not right and allowing that feeling to pass and go, no, I'm okay. I don't have to serve the not just right thought anymore. And I embrace imperfection. But for OCD sufferers, that perfectionism, there's a heavy discomfort and even disdain for flaws or failures. There's an intolerance for error. And they must be addressed immediately.
Is we have addictive and obsessive tendencies and patterns in how we relate. We ruminate over our relationship problems. We ruminate over our battles. We take them on and we feel like we need to do something about it. We're used to knee-jerk reactions. And many times wisdom will say, don't do anything right now. Sometimes wisdom will say, just listen. Let it be, or wait. Now, without boundaries, we're always compulsive. Our unhealed brokenness trains us to live like addicts all the time, even though our continual acting and acting and acting and acting oftentimes makes things worse. And many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so to say no or to have a boundary, it feels so wrong because the guilt rises up. That's why we got to learn about how to work through and walk through our guilt issues. Another thing we need to realize is that boundaries are work. They're work, and that's what makes it hard. We're so prone to taking the easy way out, and sometimes we get so tired and we just give in to the guilt. We give in to the anxiousness. We give in to the compulsion. Number 12, like I said, we often focus on looking for rules and guidelines first. We make that our focus. And instead of just simply learning what love is, learning to get rooted in love. If you're focused on the rules, what you're going to do is your relationships are not going to be based on love. You're going to keep score. You're going to be driven by anger. You're going to be driven by fear, self-protection. We want everything to be rooted in love. So again, you're not going to become this harsh. We're not encouraging you down the road of becoming this harsh cement brick wall. We want to teach you to live in that membrane, and love is going to bring about that wisdom as you learn what love is and what love is not. That's why I encourage you go into my series on what is love and what love looks like and what love is not in those things. Because we want to get into compassion, and out of loving compassion, I'm being loving towards myself, and I'm also inviting you to enter into this love because what I'm doing in the boundary is actually loving towards you. If you're rule focused, then you're just going to be looking at things through a law place, and you won't know the wisdom to go, okay, I don't need to put up this giant wall on this. I can let that slide because I live in love and it's all right. You start to learn the rhythm of wisdom that love can bring about in your journey. I'm going to give you in the last one, number 13. I'm going to give you the key thing that's kicking up when you're afraid to make a boundary. It's abandonment. The wound of abandonment is the deepest, lowest root system that drives just about everything in our life. Abandonment and the fear of abandonment. And this is rooted in what I call a rejection mindset, which I teach on. And this root of abandonment says, if I make this boundary, this person could leave me, I'm going to be alone. We deeply fear being alone. We deeply fear it. We fear people leaving us. And many people never make boundary decisions to walk in healthier patterns because they may lose relationships and they fear that loneliness. Because they say, well, it's better to just have people around me. And so many people struggle to make that decision because oftentimes if you're around a lot of toxic relationships and you make a decision for boundaries and those people reject it, you may be a little bit lonely for a while because you're making a transition to establishing new, healthier relationship patterns. And that loneliness is not a bad thing. It may be a time for you to start tending to the needs of your heart that you ignored and didn't face and didn't deal with. But many people struggle with this transition because it's like, I'd rather just be around people than be by myself because their abandonment issues come up. This is the deepest fear. I'll be alone. And by myself, I'll be abandoned. So we fear it, and our fear of abandonment drives many, many decisions in our life.